Hi there, it's Michelle here, and I hope you're having a really good day. This is day 3 of 7 days of psychic and intuitive development fun. And what I'm doing this whole week is just giving you like tastes of what we would do inside of psychic and intuitive development. And that's open right now, and it's open till next Thursday, and there's more information about it in the description above if you want to know more information about it. I want to first give a shout out to someone in our group, Jamie Cruz. Hopefully you're okay with me shouting you out, Jamie. Yesterday I made a video like trying to explain the difference between psychic and intuitive, and I'm a feeler and I'm not the best with my words sometimes, and you might relate to that if you're a feeler. Like the words are not always up to par with the feeling, right? So yesterday I'm trying to explain psychic and intuitive development and the difference between those. And I was explaining why it is important for intuitives to develop their psychic abilities. And Jamie in the thread said, "So I get it, I think I get it. Working psychically helps you validate and understand your intuition." Or she said something like that. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly it. Us practicing together and talking about our intuition and swapping stories will start to connect the dots in your own system, in the way you're wired. When we are in community and talk and practice, you'll start to see how you're wired. Once you understand how you're wired and get that feedback from people, you will trust your system. And think about it. I think that might be the definition of confidence or self-esteem, that you believe in yourself, you trust yourself, you act on your guidance. That's empowerment, right? So that's what I want for you. That's really a big part of what psychic and intuitive development is. Okay, and then the next thing, I've got a few things. So that was for Jamie, I wanted to say thank you. The next thing is, this morning I pulled a card, so we're gonna do oracle card reading today, and I was just playing around with the cards and practicing, and I set the intention and asked the question or the thought, what's important for me to tell? If people are on the fence with psychic and intuitive development, what can I tell them that would help them decide if it's for them or not for them? And I pulled this card. And it says, it might be backwards for you guys, it says decision. And I just think that's so funny that this is the thing of cards. Like, if you set the intention, get clear, and ask a clear question, you can get some insight. And then the back of the card, I'll read it. So let's do this first. If you're on the fence of whether psychic and intuitive development's for you, I'm really unattached. Like, I know the right people will show up and it's gonna be awesome because I've done this before and I have awesome people show up, but this is for you. So if you're on the fence on whether to join or not, listen to this. This is from this card. Do not turn to the opinions of others. Tap your own inner wisdom. Decide, do it now, and feel the power of your own conviction. You are right on target. Okay, so let me tell you what this means. If it means something to you, that's fine. So Friday night, I had to make a decision about something, about whether I wanted to join something for my personal development. And I was on the fence. And I was hem-hawing, like, oh, I should probably join it, da-da-da-da-da, oh, I shouldn't join it, da-da-da-da-da. Finally, when I tapped into my own intuition and really sat in it for a while, I finally came up with a decision. And instead of what I did was, once I made that decision, I held on to it with conviction. I didn't look back at the way I didn't go. I just moved in the direction that I was going to go. I made a decision and acted on it. Does that make sense? And so that's what I think this card says to me. If it says something to you different, if it tells you to join, then follow that. If you felt in this card that your gut is saying no, not for you, then follow that. Don't be tormented either way though. Decide and then move in that direction. There's no pain or struggle in it. Does that make sense? Okay, and now let's do one more thing. I want to do another reading, and here's how I want to do it. We'll see if it works. So these are oracle cards. Now, there's all different kinds of oracle cards. There's nothing special about oracle cards. Oracle cards are just a way for you to connect with your own intuition. It's just a tool. Just like if I close my eyes and say my mantra, that's my bridge to get into my intuition. This is just a tool to open the door to your intuition. Does that make sense? It's not the be all end all. There's so many tools and you'll learn a lot of tools. But we're using this tool today. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to think of a question for yourself. And I want you to do it like, I wrote this down. What's important for me to know about blank? So like, what's important for me to know about my health? What's important for me to know about my finances? What's important for me to know about my relationship with my husband? What's important for me to know about my job? Like, I want you to come up with something specific. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Do you have the idea of what I want you to do? So I want you to set the question first before I pick the card, because I want you to stay focused on that thing. So if you're willing, if it's not too private, if you're willing, I'd actually like you to type it in and I'll try to see the scroll. And it can be, so do you see how I wanted you to make it something more specific? What's important for me to know about blank? And we'll see if this works with a group like this without me being able to hear what you want to say. I'll wait for some people to start putting in what's important for me to know about blank. And it's usually, we have just so many areas of our life. Health, relationships. I even think, good, what's important for me to know about my gifts, Selena says. Okay, good. So we'll see, it'll be interesting what comes up for that. What's important for me to know about, share those with me so that I can help you if you're confused once we get the information. Okay, let's get going here. Hi, Stacy. Okay, so here we go. Michelle says, what's important for me to know about my career? Fascinating. Okay, so I won't give you all the details of what I'm doing. We'll learn that in development, but I'll just do it right now. And then if you have any questions, I'll explain it to you. Okay, so you're all gonna have a different question, right? Like, what's important for me to know about this or that? Stick with your thing. Don't stray from it right now. Okay, got it. Okay, so this is interesting. So I want you to keep your idea in mind. Deborah says, what's important for me to know about balancing? Okay, so this is really interesting. Here's the card that I pulled, forgiveness. And I'm gonna read it to you, and I want you to just sit and feel what you feel. There is someone that you need to forgive before you can advance in the situation. Perhaps this someone is yourself. Forgive and be free. I'll say it again in just a second, but how does that hit you? Does it make a big question mark? Like, how in the heck does that make sense for me? Or do you get what it means for you? Annie says, releasing others' negative emotions. Okay, good. So you're asking what's important for me to know about releasing other people's negative emotions. So Annie, does forgiveness make sense to you or not? It's gonna be, I'm reading the feed. Candy says hello. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you what this, I'll just use myself for right now. So when I tap into my own intuition and I get this, forgiveness, I know exactly what it means for me, but I've also been doing this for a long time. And Dawn says, this is honestly amazing. Ooh, 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 ooh. I wanted to know how to heal myself. Makes perfect sense. I just got chills, Dawn. And I'm very emotional. So please just really sit in that. And I do think forgiving ourselves is probably the biggest thing we can do in our lives. And forgiving others. Honestly, for me, the more I forgive myself, the less I have to forgive others. This really doesn't even exist. It's always me. I keep having to work on myself. Deborah says, I get it.
Good. What else?
Okay, good. That makes sense to Deborah. Annie, that makes sense to you too. Michelle says it makes sense.
Okay. So okay, good. So now here's what most people make a mistake with cards. They will pick another one, and then another one,
And then another one, and then it starts to get really murky.
So what I believe in doing
Is in the beginning, when you're new to this, even now, I've been doing this a long time. I stick with this one thing. I go inside and I work on it. I connect the dots within myself. Because if I start picking another card and I didn't even do the work that was required in this one, then I'm not doing the best for myself. Does that make sense?
Selena says yes.
Feeling guilty for my visions in my head and not doing anything. Okay, good. So,
Selena,
my advice, or what I would do if I was you, I would sit in that. I would sit in that feeling guilty feeling. Everybody wants to avoid those feelings, but I'm telling you, the way to transform it is to sit in it.
own it, feel it. It's in that it can be released. Does that make sense?
I feel like so many of us are afraid to feel the feelings that are negative.
But the truth is, we're human. These are important emotions to have, and there's so many gifts within those emotions too. And I think as empaths, if we don't learn how to sit in it and feel it and see the gifts in it, because I'm telling you, there's gifts in those things too, it comes out in weird ways. Like mine came out with anxiety. I had something happen to me
Earlier this week that caused me so much anxiety. When I sat in it,
and it was scary at first to sit in it, but when I sit in it, all the gifts of it start to be revealed. But I'm really good at avoiding the
things that don't feel good. So I'm always learning too. Okay, so this one really speaks to me, and I hope it speaks to you. Annie says, that makes perfect sense. Okay,
so that's the kind of thing I want to teach you inside of
psychic and intuitive development. But I want you to see the difference. Like, this is the difference in psychic intuitive development that I'm teaching. I could give you a reading.
I could tell you what I'm getting
For you,
and it's important for your development
to do that eventually.
But we don't live in a time like that anymore
where we just get information from people and take it. We're living in a time now where we learn how. We learn how to navigate our own lives. Does that make sense? Do you feel the difference?
We're living in a time where you need to learn how to use your intuition, not for somebody to just give you
The answers.
But ironically, you practicing helping someone else will ignite
Your own intuition also. Okay, I hope that made sense today. If you have any questions, leave them here. If you're having trouble connecting the dots on what your question was and what the forgiveness card and how to connect those two, let me know. I'll try to help in this thread.
What else? Oh, Psychic and Intuitive Development.
The membership closes this Thursday, and I'm going to close those doors because
I want to turn my attention to the ladies I'm working with. Jessica says, please talk more about the gifts of
sitting with it. Guilt goes to shame, helplessness.
Or helplessness. Okay, Jessica, am I hearing
Hearing this right? You want me to talk more about sitting with it?
I'll just
Tell you my experience of it, and then we can talk more in this thread.
This is my experience. We're empaths, right? We're sensitives. We
feel a lot.
We feel other
People's things a lot. We also, when we're with people, can get, our stuff can get triggered and we can think it's theirs. Sometimes it is theirs, and sometimes we just resonate with what we have within us that we're not aware of. Does that make sense? So what I'm talking about when I say sit in it, like for mine the other day, I felt really bad about something that happened that I didn't mean to do.
And I had to just
Sit in it, the feeling bad.
And when I sat in it, the feeling of feeling bad, you know how that feels lousy? It softened. And then all of a sudden I saw all these other things pop up, like my husband and my daughter and how much they were supporting me. And just the strangest images started coming up. They were all amazing things that I hadn't seen before. And it was almost like the incident that happened that appeared bad. Once I sat in that, all these other things came up that were beautiful things. I don't know if I know how to explain that. I'm gonna have to talk about it more somewhere else because I feel like it's not something, I feel like it's hard to describe. Hopefully that makes a little more sense. And there's so much healing in it. So I'm really starting to learn that our experiences, whether they appear positive or negative, we've created. Even if they appear that someone else has created them, we're creating them for our own evolution, our own healing. I don't know if that makes sense. We can talk more about it. Michelle says, where are you located? Your energy is great. Oh, thank you, Michelle. From one Michelle to another. I am located in Cincinnati, Ohio, but Psychic and Intuitive Development is an online program, and there's more information in this thread. So if you're interested, let me know. Dawn says, I think sitting in it gives us clarity. Yes. Yeah, I agree with you, Dawn. It's hard to do at first, but only for the first minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute. If you can sit maybe 90 minutes sometimes, if you can just stay with it, even though it feels our physical bodies don't like it, it's really amazing. Just sit in it and then you'll see it change. And then Deborah says, sometimes locking down feelings gets opened up with incidences. It's exactly what I thought about my thing, Deborah. You're right on the money. It was just an opportunity for me to heal myself. And I think think about how we would live if we really believed there's a saying for this. The upsets are the setups for healing in our life. The upsets in our life are the setups to heal. I just think that's awesome. I heard that from somebody, and I think that's what happens. Okay, I went off on a tangent here, but I hope that helps. This is the kind of stuff that will happen in Psychic and Intuitive Development. Look, we started with oracle cards, and then we started to get into this topic of how we feel, how we process our feelings, the gifts of incidences. I mean, this is how it goes. It's amazing. I love it. Okay, so if that resonates with you and you want more information, the link's up above. We're open until Thursday, and then I'm closing the doors just so I can, again, focus on the women who have come into our online membership. Okay, have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow because we're doing one of these every day with something different. Okay.